Hi everybody. We're doing damage control because life catches up with us, gets ahead of us sometimes, and we get behind on grooming, and then we have problems we have to solve. You may have started to realize by now that we're many sessions into this series that I have one dog in particular that seems to be pretty high maintenance. It turns out she's even higher maintenance than I realized until I started making these videos. Hi Rosie, yeah, we're talking about you. So she's high maintenance for a number of reasons. One, she's special needs. You can see her attention span's really short. She's high energy. She's sensitive, and she's pretty determined that her way is the only way that makes any sense. So everything else is just, no, let's get on with it and do what I want. But the other reason is because I keep her in a longer coat, and longer hair always equals more maintenance. Now, I've talked about this mat on her chest that keeps showing up now, and it's back again. Now, part of that is because after the first time it was there and I brushed it out, when we brush out a big mat, it damages the hair around it, makes the hair rougher, and makes it more likely to get in a mat again, especially if we're not doing some conditioning or some other kind of hair treatment to help prevent that from happening. And I've just been too busy trying to keep up with everybody that I didn't really stop to do that. Looking back on my experience with these videos though, in the future, way back at the beginning when I find a mat like this, I'm gonna prioritize higher using a conditioner or something like that to help put the coat in a better place to keep from getting tangled. However, there's another reason that her neck and shoulder continues, not neck and shoulder, neck and chest continues to get matted, and I realize it's because I left her collar on. Now, a lot of times, for sure, anytime you go out of the house, you want the collar on. It's got an ID on it. It just helps you control the dog. You attach a leash to it, all kind of reasons. But collars and harnesses too are really hard on the hair, and leaving them on causes mats, causes damage to the coat, causes coat destruction. So what I realized is as this fringe along her neck between the short clipper work and the longer body was growing out, especially where the collar hangs right here, lots of mats right in that area because the collar just rubs and rubs and rubs and rubs, and that's a problem. So this is a lot to ask her to be still for me to brush out, but it also tells me, you know, where I can change the styling a little bit to make this an easier lifestyle for both of us. So I could brush it all out first, but that wouldn't be real easy for me or real nice for her. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look at right around the collar line, where that is. Oh yeah, there's quite a few. And I'm gonna bring this line down. I'm gonna bring this clipper line down her shoulders, down her neck, a little farther. I could do that with clippers, or I could do it with thinning shears. All right, I'm gonna let her go for a second because while I remembered to have all my tools on the table before I started this video, I don't have glasses on top of my head, so I can't see as well. Hang on a minute. All right, let's be safe, right? Okay, now I can see. Good girl, come on Rosie. So now we have to go back through the process of gentling her back down. Good girl, good, easy. I know. This is why I advocate not taking a hand off the dog once you've got him settled on the table. Good. She's pretty sensitive to the clippers, especially around her head still. So even though overall that's the safest approach and that I would recommend for most people, is just skim these mats off with a clipper. For Rosie, that's not necessarily the safest or easiest. So we're gonna go over safe scissoring, safe thinning. Be still. Now I've got the collar and the grooming loop in my finger here to raise it up out of the way, but I've got it still on because otherwise she's gonna jump all around and might get away from me. So just a little at a time, there's no rush. I'm gonna cut into the mat. If I could have another hand free or somebody was holding her for me, then I would lift these up and put my fingers between the mat and the skin and cut there. But because I can't do that, I'm just gonna be real ginger. Good girl. A little at a time. As many cuts as this is taking, I might be better off using straight scissors. I won't get as nice a result or as nice a finish, but I'll get done faster, which may end up being important here in a minute. Rosie's patience pretty short. But part of why I'm showing you this is especially on pet grooming. You know, there's a lot of misconception about what you can do, what you're allowed to do, how the groom has to go. And for a pet, the most important thing about the groom is that you like it and it works for the dog. Good girl. And so bringing this line down, somebody might be like, oh, can you do that? Is that okay? Yeah, it's okay. Wait. People who say a Schnauzer should only look one particular way are probably show people. They're probably used to a dog that's very consistent in appearance, and they haven't really ever had to work around the uniqueness of a lot of pet Schnauzers, frankly. Sometimes dogs have uniqueness because they have special needs. Sometimes they have uniqueness because they weren't bred for specific traits. That's why sometimes you get funny ear sets, you know, straight up ears. Sometimes they're bred for non-characteristic traits, like very soft coat. And then that can lead to complications and things that the typical style won't take into account. So you can do what you need to. I've clipped this down. I want to show you something else I've done to make things a lot easier for Rosie and me. If I insisted on her being super still to do a perfect Schnauzer cut, it just wouldn't happen. And she's so wiggly, she's come so far, but she's still so wiggly, it just wouldn't be safe. And you know, all the places where the mats show up the most, the tender, the belly, the under chest, inside the thighs, behind the ears, all of those places. So much work, so many arguments, confrontations I would have with the dog. So instead, what I've done is I've clippered the underside really short everywhere. Nobody sees it. She still looks like she's got a long cut from the side or from above. Anybody who sees this, oh, that's a full haircut. But you know what? I trimmed away all the hair that's a problem to deal with. No hair in the armpits. No hair in the under chest. No hair on the belly. No hair on the inner thighs. So we don't have to fight any more than, as you can see, she just kind of does. So now that I've thinned down the chest, brought the bib down a little bit, we won't be fighting about that either. So some of pet grooming especially is trial and error and learning as you go. What works for you, what looks good on a particular dog. Yes, there are rules and guidelines. But unless somebody is paying you to do a specific job, those rules and guidelines don't have to apply to you. And you can do what you want. The main goal is that we keep them tidy, we keep them looking cared for, we keep them comfortable, and we keep them how we like to see them. What makes us smile? They're here to make us smile. They're not here, Rosie's not here in my life so I can be worried about being judged by others. So I'm not gonna be. There, now I got those really bad ones out. And now with just a little bit of gentle and persistent brushing, even that big mat came out pretty easily. So, if you want to keep a long coat on a dog, it's fine. It's more maintenance, unless you cut away all the hair that doesn't matter, that nobody's going to see, that just causes you to have an argument with the dog when grooming time comes. Thanks for being cooperative. Thanks for helping me help you. All right, everybody. We'll catch you next time.